Hello students, and welcome back to Hexxit Education. And as you can see, we are once again out on our playground, because in this lesson we're going to be talking about bows. And now the one I have in my hand is actually the vanilla bow, and it is one of the weakest ones that we're going to talk about today. Because in Hexxit there are plenty more ways that you can get your projectile flinging done. And the regular bow is one of the least of these. But I'm mostly having it here for comparison purposes. So just grab some arrows and just remind you what a regular bow looks like. It's right out of vanilla. 1, 2. However, there is one difference. In Hexxit, one of the mods, I'm not sure which one it is actually, lets you do this. You can collect your arrows back as long as you can step over them. Very, very useful little thing. Okay, so I'm going to dive right into this, and I think right now we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. I was going to talk about these, which are most of the bows that are available in Hexxit, but first I'm going to talk about these. This is the Shortbow. The Shortbow is the Tinker's Construct bow, and by most accounts it is the worst bow in the game. So this is a wooden Shortbow. It is slightly slower than a regular bow, and it's actually a little more difficult to manufacture. You can repair it, but you can't really enchant it. This is the same bow with 150 redstone on it, so this should increase the draw speed incredibly, and it does, but it's really not that much of a noticeable difference. Okay, now this is a Manulin Shortbow made with Manulin, the best basically metal you can use in Tinker's Construct to make things out of. Let me show you what happens when you try and fire an arrow with this. The draw speed is twice as long as a vanilla bow because it's a metal bow. My understanding is that it does increase the damage a little bit, but it doesn't compensate for the slow draw speed, and there are much better ways to get increased damage out of your bow than making it in Tinker's Construct. And for comparison, this is a Manulin Shortbow with 150 redstone put on it. So I'd say it's still slower than a vanilla bow, just for comparison. So, I mean, in a way, it's not as bad as it could be, but then again, it's not the best. And there are better bows in Hexxit than you can make with Tinker's Construct. So, just for comparison, this is a wooden bow. I mean, my repair interface using a toolbar. Draw speed 1 second. Wooden Shortbow with 150 redstone, 0.69. So we lost a slight amount of draw speed, but it's still slower than the regular bow. The Manulin starts off at 2.4 seconds. Really, really slow. And you compare that to one with fully upgraded. This is 3 modifiers worth of redstone. Increases to 1.6 seconds. So it's not worth it. And if you notice, the damage slightly higher than before, but this is Hexxit. We have better ways of dealing damage with bows than using Tinker's Construct. So now we've got the elephant out of the way. Let's talk about the real bows. And I'm going to go through each one of them, and I believe for all these you can make them. And I'll try and talk about where these come from. Most of them come from a mod called More Bows, which oddly enough gives you more bows. So first off, we have the blazing bow. What this does is set things on fire. And I'll demonstrate. It can set mobs on fire, and you can see it just consumes 1 arrow as you go through it. You see the draw speed is very quick, just as equal, and a little bit faster than a vanilla bow. Yeah, slightly faster. However, I believe, yeah, you're not affected by the flame. However, it does set mobs on fire, and it's actually very useful if you're in a cave. Imagine you hit that somewhere. It's like, oh, there's a creeper over there. Gotcha. Very useful bow. And you make it using blaze rods. So it's and gold and netherrack. So it's not an early game bow, but once you get access to the nether, it's probably worth making it. But again, it's fire, so you can't use it against nether creatures, but there's plenty of other stuff to kill other than that. So next up, we have the crystal bow. And this is actually, I'm going to go into it in just a minute or so. This is probably the best bow in Hexxit. It has the highest damage, fairly quick draw speed, a little bit slower than regular, but the extra damage just does more than makes up for it. So for comparison, yeah, it's a little bit slower than vanilla, but it does much more damage than the short bows and much more damage than a vanilla bow. So you make that one probably enough with diamond. Now this is not impossible to get early in the game. I recommend you make this as early as you can. Okay, next up, I'm not going to click on it. I'm just going to show it to you. This is the ender bow. And I show this to you, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Oh wait, I can't show you how to make it. You know why? Because this is a bugged item. Oh, no I can't. Sorry. Eye of Ender pearls. You can make it here. Do not use this item. This is bugged in this current version of more bows. I don't know what actually happens. I'm not going to mess around with it, and neither should you. If you happen to find it in a chest, you might want to put it into an uncrafting table or use see if you can get back some of the materials for it, but don't use it. This will cause, I believe this will cause your game to crash. So it's here. Don't fire it. Next, frostbow. Now frostbow pretty much does what you think it would do. It makes enemies slow down. One downside, unfortunately, is even though it does create little snow blocks temporarily, you cannot get your arrows back. One thing it can do, which is kind of cool, I'll show you in our newly created campus pool, complete with squid, is this. There we go. So you have to hit it just on the side, and it will create a little bit of ice and snow for you to walk over. So pretty cool. No pun intended. Oh, I was wrong. Okay, so if you look carefully, you can get your bows back, your arrows back. See those little tiny snowball things? Yeah, I was only at one, so they melt very fast, but you can get them back if you want to. Just knock this out of the way. So frostbow. It's not bad for what it is. Made with ice, snow, and string. Simple enough. Give it a try. See if you like it. Okay, next up we have the golden bow. And the golden bow is pretty good. And I'm just going to bring both these at the same time because I believe, let me just double check my numbers here. Yes, so the golden bow is sort of the base in terms of damage. The golden bow it's a little bit slower draw speed, not by much. Actually, no, that's pretty quick. See, it's a slightly faster draw speed than a vanilla bow, and it does the same amount of damage. So you see, yeah, vanilla is a little bit slower than this. However, you see how fast the durability went down in that? So it takes a while to repair, but very nice bow, same amount of damage. The iron bow, by comparison, is actually not as much damage as the golden bow. And I believe, let me just get my arrows back. There we go. Yeah. This is roughly the same draw speed as the vanilla bow. Yeah, about the same draw speed, a little less damage than a vanilla bow, but the iron bow is mostly used as a base recipe in order to make the better bows. So gold bow, very very nice. Let me just show you the recipe for it. Pretty much like you'd think, just gold and string, and the iron bow, just iron and string. But again, the iron bow is used to make the Lygia, blazing, the Ender, which is bugged at the moment in this version, and the Frostbow. So next up, we have the Lygia and the Reinforced. And let me show you the Reinforced first, because I believe, let me just double check this. Yes, the Reinforced is the second highest damage dealing bow, next to the Crystal Bow. So you see the draw speed is a little bit slower than Vanilla. But I believe it's called the Reinforced Bow, A, because it has a little more damage, and also B, because it has a little more durability than a normal bow. So, not too bad. Just for comparison. Yeah. About equal. Now we come to the fun part. I'm probably mispronouncing it. I'm going to call it the Lygia. It's probably Legia or something, but Lygia is the name of a poem by Edgar Allan Poe, so watch this. Not bad. If you watch my inventory, every time it fires, it only uses one bow, one arrow, but it splits them. See? So all these over here are not real arrows. They just look like arrows. So essentially it fires one and makes a copy of it over to one side. And you can see, it looks like, let me just fire this way. Yeah, it looks like it always fires the real one and straight, and the other one is always to the right of the one of what you're firing, I believe. Yes. So let's say if you had one guy here, you'd aim for the one on the left, and you will probably hit the one on the right. Very cool. I like this bow, and it's really handy. Doesn't use as much as a true multi-shot, but still, very good bow, the Legia. I recommend getting it as soon as you can. Okay, next on our list, we're going to talk briefly about these. These are the Natura bows, and the main difference between these and the regular bows is how they're constructed. The regular bows are made with string. The Natura bows, if I can find one of them. Here we go. They are made with flame string, more durable than string. It is, actually. These bows do tend to last a little bit longer. They are roughly equivalent to vanilla bows, but you get flame string from, I think they're called blaze spiders or cinder spiders. They're big nasty spiders that you find in the nether through the Natura mod. They're a pain in the neck, but they drop these things all over the place. So if you haven't gotten one of these good bows yet, you want to upgrade a little bit from your vanilla bow, I recommend making one of these. It really doesn't matter which one. I don't know where they went. Well, which one you actually go for. They're all roughly pretty much the same with the Natura ones. Okay, so I'm going to talk about one more bow here, and this one is different. Because I'm clicking on it, it's not giving you a recipe. That's because you can't make this one. You can only find it. You see, the arrows we had there, the fake ones, they despawned. So this is a little bit slower than a regular bow. But one thing it does have is this cool animation. Watch my hotbar. That's pretty much the only thing it does, really, because it's slower draw speed than vanilla. I think it's about the same amount of damage, but you can find it in some chests, so if you happen to find it, you'll know it's roughly equal to a vanilla bow. Okay, so right now I'm gonna put down a listing at the bottom of our screen and show you about the relative damage of each of these bows. And this is what I found according to the wiki on Hexxit. So from least sort of highest, we have the vanilla, which is bow, which is in the same category as a golden bow. So that's that. Sorry about that. Next, we have the frost, which is I believe one step higher, and I think in the same category as the frost is the Legia bow, and then the same category as that is the reinforced bow, and then we get to the crystal bow, which has the highest amount of damage, and yeah. So as much as I can, I recommend you get the crystal bow whenever you get a chance. So there's one more thing. One more thing I want to mention in this episode, but I mentioned it because we're not going to get into it, and that is in the Better Dungeons mod that you can find and craft different kinds of arrows, specifically elemental arrows. However, we're going to talk about all the Better Dungeons elemental weapons in their own lesson, so I'm not going to include them today, even though they are related to bows, but not actually bows themselves. So, one more thing, the postscript. I told you before, the Shortbow not worth getting. You may think, oh wait, what if I go into the interface for Tinker's Construct and make myself some really good arrows? You can customize arrows also. They are not worth it. Even if you take a lot of nether quartz and just make them really strong, it doesn't make up for the slow draw speed. It really doesn't. There are better things in Hexxit than Tinker's Construct bows, so I recommend you seek those out, craft them, or if you're lucky enough to get them to drop. So, this has been Ken Kadita for Hexxit Education. Class dismissed.